welcome to part 2. Yes, we're in the same clothes. Yes, this is the same day.
I'm concerned.
Why?
I don't like the look you gave me.
What look?
You have plans?
I mean, I kind of. I'm just going with the flow. I have a topic for us to talk about. That's the extent of my plans.
Please share.
Okay, so Logan and I have been watching this show pretty religiously because it had a decent amount of seasons. I think we're in like season 5 or 6. All right, it's 1,000 Pound Sisters.
Oh, yes, I know the one.
Have you watched it?
I have seen clips of it because I like watch a lot of shows basically through TikTok and Facebook.
Yeah, Tammy and Amy Slayton. Are their names. They actually have a YouTube channel.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the description. And I don't know if they still have the one that they do together. I know they have 2 separate ones.
Yes.
But they were also filming videos together. So I'll put them in the description box below. But we have been watching this show religiously, and we finally got caught up to where the episodes are now. Like, we have to wait for the next episode to release, and it's really upsetting. But I didn't know if that, like, you watch shows like that or not, because, like, it's like you don't just get to see them on their weight loss journey. It's like their life.
It's like a reality show.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, I wasn't 100% sure what to expect. I didn't know if I would enjoy it. I remember we watched, like, My 600-Pound Life or something like that with Dr. Proctor, who is their bariatric surgeon. And, like, I enjoyed getting to see that and, you know, watching people be successful and everything like that and getting to learn about their stories and stuff. This just took on a whole new level.
They are very, yes.
They are so entertaining in terms of it, like their personalities, like everything. And it got to a point, I think it was like halfway through watching all seasons, like their whole family started joining in, like all the sisters, their brother. It's like a whole family thing now. And it was funny to me to see, like, it was back to back to back to back. Each of the siblings would be like, okay, Dr. Proctor, I'm next. And then they would go and get the surgery too. So it's like a whole family journey now and not just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like it started. And it was such an interesting thing to watch, but they left us on a cliffhanger. A really big cliffhanger. And the next episode comes out on the 6th. And it's the season finale. And it looks like it's going to be real good. And I personally think that you should watch it. I think that you would enjoy it.
I see a lot of clips of it. Like, I have never watched a full episode.
Yeah.
But the amount that I've seen between, because it's like this episode, part 1, part 2, part 3, but, you know, on TikTok, you can pretty much watch whole episodes of things on TikTok.
Okay.
If you just keep going.
I haven't allowed myself to dive into what's on TikTok that much. I've just been making TikToks and posting them.
So, yeah, I've seen a lot of it that way. And also through, like, Facebook, because you see videos.
Okay.
And it's, like, literally be, like, a 15-minute video from that show.
Well, it was amazing to me to see. It is a little graphic when they do the surgery. They do, but they'll put, like, a, you know, warning kind of thing beforehand. Yeah. And they'll show you how they go about it. It was, one, really interesting to me that they do it with a machine. Like, they insert 4 rods into your stomach. And each rod, I guess, is a different tool. And the surgeon controls the robot. It's a robotic surgery now. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, because it's not... Yeah, because, like, I think robotic surgery being more, like, bone... related, like like knee surgeries. Like, we do a lot of Makoplasty scans for robotic knee surgeries. Yeah. And that's bone. And
well, with this, not only they're removing part of your stomach and then also part of your intestine. And they're doing it with a robot.
Interesting.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. And then the amount of weight loss that happens in the first, like, 6 months, I was shocked by. Like, there were months where they were losing, like, 60 pounds, 80 pounds. And I was like, my God. That's nuts.
Yeah.
You know? And now that Logan and I have gotten into really counting our calories and our macros and stuff, and 3,000 calories equals 1 pound of fat loss, and like that whole thing, it was like, oh my God. You know, if you're being reduced down to a 1,200 calorie diet after just eating whatever you want, whenever you want, like, that's a drastic difference. But then it was just simply from the surgery, simply because their stomach got that much smaller.
Yeah.
You know, your body registers that you're full faster, so obviously you're going to eat less, but the amount of weight that just within the first 3 months even, it was drastic. I think in the first month, Tammy lost like 100 pounds.
I know the one got hers much sooner than
the
other.
They had a food addiction. Tammy had a food addiction, and it's not something that's easy to deal with. She was going to therapy about it and stuff, but it was one of those things where the doctors that performed the surgery wanted to make sure that they could make the change, because it's a life change. It's not just, oh, I'm going to get the surgery and I can continue to do what I'm doing. It was you need to get the surgery to help, and then on top of it, you need to eat better, exercise more, like, do all of that. So they would give them goals that they had to meet. And the goals would be, you know, I want you to come back here and I want you to be X amount of pounds before I'll do your surgery. So I think for Tammy, she had to be 550. And then he would do the surgery.
Jesus.
And at one point, she was like 714 pounds. And she did it. She got down to 550. She went into rehab to help her so that she had, like, a controlled environment. Because if, you know, it's just like a drug addiction.
Yeah.
Where if you're around it or it's available to you, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. And so she checked herself in.
Like, with all of those, like, you see them, especially the people that they can't move.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're eating somehow. Someone's bringing you food.
See, that was the thing for a while. The main reason that it took Tammy so long was because of that. Amy and Tammy, they lived essentially kind of like what this is. It was like a duplex. Each side was a rental. Same landlord. And Amy would have to essentially fully take care of Tammy. She would go grocery shopping for her, everything like that. Tammy hadn't left the house in like 7 or 8 years because she just physically couldn't do it. So
yeah, I remember seeing the episode where they had to get her somewhere and they put her in like the back of the van.
Yeah, they had to put the seats down and she had to sit on the floor. It's super dangerous, you know?
They hit the brakes.
Oh, and she went flying forward. They were actually on their way to Dr. Proctor. It was like an 8-hour drive to get there to see him because he was in a different state. And so they were on this journey together, and Amy was doing the grocery shopping and stuff, saying that she was buying her the healthy foods. Going, you know, you would see, they would show the groceries that she was getting, her stocking the fridge. It was like lettuce and vegetables and stuff like that. But then Tammy would gain weight. She wouldn't make weight. And the whole thing was, you know, there's DoorDash and Grubhub and Uber Eats. Like, that's all around now. And you can buy food on Amazon. And it can be delivered to your house. So that was the whole thing. Are you buying food online and having it brought to you? And that's what it was. That's what it ended up being. It was a whole mindset switch that she had to go through, which is why the therapy was needed even more, because for her whole life, they basically said that she struggled with her weight. Like, she came out, she was a big baby. Like, I'm pretty sure they said over 10 pounds. And my mind went, my God. I could never imagine pushing, even a baby out in general, but I digress. So it was this whole, she's been on different diets, she's tried different things, it never works out, or she always falls back on it, that kind of a thing. And she, watched Amy essentially go through the process, get her surgery, started losing all this weight. Then her brother was like, I'll do it with you. You didn't get cleared for it. We'll do this together. We'll work out together. Everything like that. So they started that, and then COVID hit. And then she was stuck inside. She ended up getting COVID and pneumonia, was rushed to the hospital. She was super sick. And I'm pretty sure it was that month she gained like 40 pounds. And they wouldn't clear her for surgery. And it just kept hitting her and hitting her and hitting her like that. Not cleared for X, Y, and Z reason. And she needed to change her mindset. She needed to want to do it for herself. And she even admitted that. She was like, this needs to be, I feel like my family is pushing me to do this. Because they want me to do this. It's not something that I want. I'm not ready for it yet. And then she went to therapy and started talking to the therapist and going through a lot of her like childhood trauma from being bullied and stuff like that. And she was finally able to go, I'm ready. I'm ready to do it. And she checked herself on the rehab and she did it.
How do these people financially survive?
I don't know if they qualify for disability. That was something that I was talking to Logan about, because I was like, I don't understand. Like, if people... Because the two of them, they've been doing YouTube for a while. They seem like they were really popular. They're making something off of that. I'm sure at the time wasn't a whole lot, but they were doing that. And then the TV show, I'm sure they had to deal with the TV show producers. But it was just like, how do you survive?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Because you're like not getting up and going to a job.
No, you can't. You physically can't work. And that's why I was like, do they qualify for like a disability situation? Or what's the deal?
There's no way they get paid that much from TLC. Like, you're not making that much money off of it.
I have no
idea.
idea.
Their contracts would not allow for you to make that much money off of it.
Yeah, probably not. I have no idea, but probably not.
I mean, look at all the Duggar kids. They hardly made anything.
Really?
Most of them didn't make anything at all.
I didn't know that.
Because their parents had it set up that the kids didn't get anything. Basically, the parents were making money off of all the kids.
That's not right.
Even when the show kind of split off.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like the older sisters, the parents were still the ones getting the money from that.
Really? Uh-huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
That became a
really big thing. That came out there's a show, it's a documentary or something, and it's about that. And it's about the brother and all of that. And it's like a tell-all.
That's kind of interesting.
And I think it's called something Smiles. All Smiles or something like that. Or Happy something. I don't know. I can't remember. But like it's like a documentary. And it has the sisters, and they just, like, spill the tea.
Wow.
About everything. Yeah.
I'll have to watch that, because I would be interested to see that.
And about how it's a cult. They're part of a cult.
Oh.
The girls throw that out there, like, almost immediately. That this whole church following thing they do is a cult. And part of it, and the reason why they have so many children, is because they believe... you should just basically never stop having children because you're going to help to gain your forces. The more children you have, you're supplying the church with more forces, basically, by continuing to have children. But the girls came right out. It's a cult. That's what they're part of. And TLC decided to make money off of it.
Have they left?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
they're
obviously,
not.
considering they... Yeah.
Well,
the one
assume.
married a guy who... he was kind of... Most of these... Apparently, the daughters... Most of their husbands were, like, chosen for them. Like, they didn't just, like, meet them and start dating. Like, their father introduced them to them and were like, here you go, you guys can start, like, courting, basically. And he did that with one of the daughter's husbands. And they obviously became more serious. And then he was like, what is going on with this family? And he kind of, like, saw what was happening, but, like, her dad, like, loved the guy. Like, he thought he was great. He thought he was going to be the next him, basically. And then, but he had an actual head on his shoulders and was like, this is wrong. And, yeah.
Wow.
So he helped to kind of get her out of the whole situation.
Wow.
Same with the others, yeah.
Yeah, that's awful. Absolutely awful.
Mm-hmm.
That is, we watch not just, like the reality, we don't watch a lot of reality TV, which is part of the reason that I was like, I gotta talk to Megan about this. But, we watch a lot of, like, documentaries and stuff like that on cults and, the true crime stuff. But cults have always fascinated me. I find, because each leader has their own issues.
Yes.
Their own reason as to why this is what they believe. Mm-hmm. And the way that they gain their beliefs is always so drastically different. Like, we were watching a documentary. I completely forget the name of it. It was about Mother God. Do you know Mother God? Okay, buckle up. Mother God. Oh, this was rough. It was real rough. This woman basically, like, lived a normal life until she was in her, like, mid to late 30s, had, 1 kid, 2 kids, I think 2 kids, had a husband, they got divorced, and, she basically just, like, moved in with her mom, with the kids, and one day left and never came back. And then out of nowhere, a couple years down the road, she started making videos and posting them on a website and on Facebook and stuff. And she was calling herself Mother God and had this belief that she was God, essentially, in female form, and gained a whole lot of a following. And this was going on back in the like 2000s, I think. Mm-hmm. And, she moved out to like Colorado and Utah, like that whole area, and would travel, and met a guy and started doing a lot of drugs and drinking a lot. And she, ended up becoming an alcoholic, and it just grew into this whole organization of people flocking to her, to Mother God, for safety and protection and for their beliefs. And they essentially grew into a cult, and they had an organization, and they made their money through donations. Mm-hmm. And the whole premise behind it was, she has all of these people that were essentially, like her disciples, but her disciples were like Robin Williams and Michael Jackson, and, all of these famous actors, actresses, and well-known people that had passed. And, they were essentially speaking to her from beyond, we'll put it that way. And she believed that they were going to come and take her, and she was going to ascend, and they were telling her what she needed to do in order to ascend. And the way she got this information was she had to enter a state of meditation. deep meditation, and it was usually not like a normal meditation where, you know, your state of mind. She was usually pretty drunk and under the influence. Uh-huh. And, you know, she had one of the girls that was there would take notes while she was meditating. And as soon as she would come to, she would tell her, you know, Robin told me that I need to weigh this amount. I need to stop consuming solid food. I need to only drink liquid, and colloidal silver is the cure-all for everything. And we can no longer go, they didn't believe in going to the hospital. They thought that people out there in the public, like, they were bad people.
I feel like a lot of them are like that.
I agree. They want total control of everything. So they stopped going to seek help from medical professionals and stuff. And they were just, you know, relying on things like colloidal silver, which, you know, in small doses can cure or help with certain things, but it's still metal. You're consuming metal, and if used improperly, it can turn you blue. Guess who turned blue? And so the Blue
Man Group was born.
Yeah, essentially, like, she turned blue.
Wow.
Because she had too much colloidal silver. Like, she was taking it like there was no tomorrow. Way too much of it. Her skin turned blue. She essentially became a skeleton.
She looked dead, probably.
She did. And then ended up, she got so sick, she did die.
Oh.
And the whole group was like, she's ascended. Because that was, they didn't know. She didn't tell them what the ascension process was. They were just like, yeah, a spaceship with Robin Williams and Michael Jackson and all of the disciples are going to come, and they're going to take her. That's what they thought. That is what they thought. And so they had her body for like ever. Because nobody came. And she had, close to the end of her life, reached out and was, you know, speaking with her sister and stuff. And her sister was like, she's not answering. I haven't heard from her. They're posting videos, like the followers are posting videos that she ascended. Like, what does that mean? They're not saying anything. So she called the police and was like, I need you to do, that is your stomach? My goodness. Still going. That was really...
It's done. I'm hungry.
But they basically did like a wellness check on her. Come to find that she is basically shrouded in her bed. Has like Christmas lights all around her. Is wrapped up in blankets. There's music playing. And she's dead. And has been for quite some time.
Oh boy.
And they were just keeping her there, waiting for her to be ascended. It was a whirlwind of a documentary. It really was. It was not the ending that I anticipated. If you get the chance, I highly recommend watching it.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there that I see pop up. Every single one of them is like an hour long. Or multiple parts.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't got time for that.
Well, I just gave you the synopsis. Mother God was like 3 or 4 parts.
The one with the Duggars is multiple parts too.
Okay. Good to know.
That one's great. They bring the cousin in. Like other family members.
Interesting.
Yeah. To like talk about what it was like to just like walk into that house.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm assuming I'm assuming that like the cousins weren't a part of it, right? Like,
No.
it was just that family specifically. So to walk into that kind of an environment as an outsider, but knowing that they're family, like, that must be terrifying. I would become super concerned.
For instance, like, I think she had said she would show up and they'd be, like, playing instruments because they had no form of communication, basically, other than, like, I don't know if they even did they have a phone? I don't even know if they had a phone. Because, so, like, no TV, they made their own music kind of thing. And
essentially,
so basically,
Amish, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, she had said that, like, they didn't even know who Justin Bieber was. Like, they didn't know who...
Right,
They didn't know who any of these stars were because they just didn't know any of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That I couldn't imagine. Like, that's...
Yeah, they get into some real deep stuff.
I'm gonna watch it.
I learned, too, and I didn't know... I had thought the whole thing with the brother was while the show was happening, and that's why they hid it.
Okay.
I didn't realize the thing with the brother was before the show even happened. When he was, like, 13. It was before the show even happened. The parents knew about it, and they had sent him away to a special camp because of it. And then they would bring him back. So he wasn't there. That's why there would be times where you wouldn't see him in the show because he was at this special camp. And they knew these things were happening. And I guess there was a girl that he was dating. And planning to marry. And it's not his wife, but it was somebody else. And because I think they questioned her and her parents. Like, I think her and her parents were in it. And they found out about it. And that's when they were like, well, our daughter's not marrying your son. Like, not if that's how he is. And they kind of forewarned them. They didn't come out and, like, bring it up to anything. But they were like, this is going to come out one day. And when it does, it's going to kill you.
Yeah.
And it did. But, yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. They talk so much about... And, like, the girls' husbands are with them a majority of the time when they're talking about it. And you can tell, like, they get emotional about things.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're basically reliving their trauma. And they, like...
Yeah, that's not easy.
Yeah. So, but... Yeah. And I guess the girls were pretty much told that he was going to be away and not be coming back. But they ended up bringing him back for, like, one of the holiday episodes.
Okay.
Or something. And the girls, like, didn't know he was coming back. So that was a bit of a shock. Same as the whole when it first happened and they were interviewed in the show. And they did the whole, well, we forgive him. We forgave him about this. And, like, and almost like they were making excuses for him.
Okay.
And the girls basically said, you didn't do that by choice. They were told you are going to try to sugarcoat this and brush it off like it was fine. Like, you were okay. Like, it didn't bother you that much. Kind of thing. Yeah. They really...
Why
and
would
same
you
with, like,
do
their
that?
show, the girl show, that's the spinoff.
Yeah.
Of, like, Jill and whatever. When they talk about money situation, that the parents were still raking in all this money.
Yeah.
It was because the one day they were, I guess, walking through the kitchen or something, and he said, like, I need you to sign this. And she was like, oh, okay. So she just quickly signed it, not realizing that basically she was signing that she's making nothing off of this show, and he's making everything. So she said even when it was to the point that they were going to her parents and going, we need some money from this because we're not even making enough to pay our bills, that they, like, still really didn't want to give money up. I was found out she did not want her birth to be filmed. I think it was Jill. She did not want her birth to be filmed. And they pushed for it to happen.
Why would you do that to your kids? Why would you want that for your kids? You're just causing such a rift in the relationship with them.
Yeah.
And that's something that could break and never get fixed. Especially with all of that behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Wow. This part was a lot darker than part 1.
Yeah.
Damn. My bad. That wasn't intentional. It just kind of happened.
Got into cults and shit.
Yeah, I mean, hey. They're interesting.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?
And there's like...
They are.
Way too many of them out there.
There are. Maybe we can deep dive into some of them sometime. Even more. Because there are some super interesting ones.
Like the whole Waco thing. Like, I had heard about it. I didn't know very much about it, but I watched a documentary on that,
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, God. That documentary got me heated.
Like, Brian came up at one point, and he was like, what are you watching? And I was like, about Waco. And he goes, oh, yeah. Like, and I was like, well, you probably know.
Yeah, I got heated during that documentary.
That was...
Yeah.
That was handled so poorly. And I said, I was like, you know, the documentary was so good about not being one-sided.
It was.
The documentary was so good at showing both sides equally.
Yes.
And just from that, you can still go, there was a lot of mistakes made here. There was a lot of decisions that were made very poorly. There was a lot of things that could have been handled much differently. Yeah.
Logan was watching a documentary. This is all still going on to this day. There were 2 girls that went missing and they were murdered. And their bodies were found. They were like 12 and 13 or 11 and 12 around that age. And the investigation was handled so poorly that there's missing evidence. And they had all of this evidence, and they had this guy. They were determined this is the guy that did it. This is the guy that did it. Guess what? More than likely, that's not the guy that did it. Because his DNA didn't match the DNA they had.
Ah.
But they were still hell-bent on booking him for it. And there's another trial that's going to happen for somebody else in the fall. To try to finally put this to rest. This has been going on for like 9 years. And the families still don't have closure. That is the one thing that frustrates me the most when it comes to cult investigations or murder investigations, true crime investigations, is when the authorities behind the investigation don't do their jobs properly.
Yeah. And
things are overlooked that should never have the opportunity to be overlooked. Because that's terrible to think that these families who each lost a little girl still don't have closure, and it's been almost 10 years.
There is a new show out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about a girl who survived being kidnapped.
Okay.
It's a woman who survived being kidnapped.
Okay.
Like her entire childhood. She got herself out along with another girl that was in there with her. A younger girl. And now, as a grown woman, her job is to help find missing girls and missing kids.
That's amazing.
That's what she does. And it's not like really like a higher position. It's like something that she created. Like she does it.
Yeah.
And the one cop that's there is always like, how do you always beat us to this shit? Like, how do you always find these girls? Like,
because she lived it. She knows what they're doing.
She's got an inside man, too.
Does she?
Because the one that kidnapped her, she's got chained in her basement. And she'll throw a thing down in front of him and go, tell me where you would have taken him. She has him chained up. They never found him. They never found him because she took him then. It has him chained up in her basement.
This is a show,
and she uses
right?
it. Yeah.
Not a docuseries.
No, it's a show. It's like an ongoing. It's like just recently started.
Logan and I would love to watch something like that.
I know the girl who's in it because she's in Shameless.
Okay.
She's like the best friend in Shameless.
Oh, sorry.
I'll be able to find it as soon as I look her up. I don't remember what it's called though. And I started watching it and I only really watched the first episode and Brian was like not super interested in it. And of course he's not interested in a lot of that kind of stuff. But where is she? I scrolled too fast. I missed her. Oh, here she is. Movies and shows. Found.
Okay.
It's called Found. What is it on?
Him and I'll have to watch
It's on
that.
Peacock. Peacock, Hulu.
Okay. We have
a few different things, but yeah, it's called Found.
We'll have to watch that.
And they're like, I think it's like doing one episode at a time kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah. You don't know he's like in the basement until like almost the end of the first episode. Okay. And it was after, because like the cop that she deals with is like a guy cop. And he's just like, how the hell do you... And she'll put herself in harm's way. Like, you'll see in the beginning, as soon as it starts, she's like walking down an alley and like hardly anything because she's trying to attract the attention of,
Interesting.
And then they always find the girls, and like there is only a handful or maybe one or two that they haven't found, and it just like haunts her that like
they can't find them
out. Yeah. And one of the guys, I don't remember what exactly happened, but like he like really went off on this guy, and I don't know if it was him that had also been, because most of the people that work for her had either also been taken at one point, or their family member had been. Okay. And I don't know if it was him that had been taken, or like his sister that had been taken. Okay. But, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'll watch it.
But it was good, because it was a good thing, and it was like, and she was like, you can tell me where they are, or I'll just let him keep taking his anger out on you. Kind of thing. But, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay. I'll put that on my list.
Yeah.
I'll
But yeah, it's called Found. And as soon as I saw that she was in that, Shanola, I think was her name, Hampton. Shanola Hampton. As soon as I saw that she was in that, because I loved her in Shameless. She was great in Shameless because she was the best friend. Like,
I got that song stuck in my head. I'm sorry. It won't go away. Very off topic. Please continue. Don't mind me.
But as soon as I saw that she was in it, I was like, this is going to be a good show.
Yeah. I'll have to watch
because I loved her in Shameless. She was like the badass best friend.
Okay.
And got it. Mm-hmm. She always dressed in like it was like hardly anything most of the time, but like yeah.
All right.
There was a part in Shameless that like she's with the same guy the entire show. Like they get married and there's a lot that happens in Shameless, but like at one point there's this girl that comes around and he's like saying that she has a kid with him and blah blah blah, and finds out the girl had been lying, and she was like, yeah, like, you dumbass, I can't believe like you believe that. And she's like, am I hearing this correctly? this child is not his. And then she just immediately starts going for the earrings. And she goes, oh, well, now we're gonna... And they're like, oh, you messed up. Oops. Because she's gonna fuck you up.
Wow.
Yeah, they run a bar. They own a bar. So, I mean, you gotta be pretty tough to run a bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. You either gotta be pretty tough or you gotta have a nice looking baseball bat behind the bar.
She does. Yeah, they do have that too.
Or both, I guess.
And at one point they had and I think upstairs they were running a rub and tug. At one point they saved all these like Russian prostitutes and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And we're like, they were like, this is the only thing we know. And they were like, well, we can put it to use if you're willing.
If you guys want, I mean.
Yeah. And they're making pretty damn good money off of it.
I can imagine.
And then the one that was funny is the one girl from it, they were trying to make sure she didn't get deported. And they were like, well, we'll just marry the girl's boyfriend. Just, like, marry him. Like, if you marry him, you'll stay in this country. And then they were like, oh, well, technically Kevin's married because he never got divorced from that other bitch. And so he can't marry her. But her, she can marry her. So they marry each other.
So that she can stay in the country. Uh-huh. That's funny.
Yeah.
Alright.
So they become wives.
This became a very interesting episode. I wonder how these 2-part episodes are going to pan out. Let us know down in the comments. Let us know what you think. You got anything
We need
else?
some other book recs too, because
how many times do we have to beg you, book talk? Do I need to get on my knees? I know some of you are into that. I'll do it. I just want book recommendations. For the love of God. Mm-hmm. Please. Okay?
I'll even take Wattpad recommendations.
Yeah. Any recommendations. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what it's on. If it's Audible, if it's a real book, if it's Wattpad. I don't care. By real book, I mean physical book. That kind of sounded stupid. I'm sorry. I will take
old-fashioned book.
One of those, you know. Like, I don't care. I just want
to Stone Age.
The medieval times. But we only read by candlelight. I just want recommendations. We need things to...
Because I'm going to run out of shit eventually.
We both are.
And I mean, like, TikTok's doing a good job at, like,
giving me
ideas.
Yeah.
But
at some
I also
point,
need to hear from other people.
Yeah, we want your recommendations. We want to talk about stuff that you guys want us to talk about. We don't want to just sit here and ramble on if you guys aren't going to enjoy it. I mean, we can.
We still will sit here and ramble on, but
it'll just be a little more structured. A little more, you know. We're going to try. But please. We're begging you. Anything else?
Nope.
That's it? Any other recommendations?
Tis all.
Tis all.
Tis all.
Tis all. Okay. Well, like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Is that it? Did I do it right?
I think so.
We'll see you guys on Sunday for the new episode. Have a good week. What did you say last time? Don't
weekend wrap up. This is gonna be midweek though.
That's okay. Midweek wrap up.
Midweek wrap up.
Yeah. It's still important.
Don't add to the population. Don't subtract from the population. Don't wind up on the newspaper, hospital, or jail. If you do end up in jail, establish dominance quickly. Yeah. Okay. Bye. Bye.